That's kind of frustrating, right? It gets going. It's like you really think you're going to get into the flow, and then it's done. Then the music's done. I want to see where that song's going. All right, kids. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I am grateful for your time. Again, on a Thursday afternoon, we do the deep dive. And, oh my goodness, you know what I should have done? Let's see if I can do this by memory, because I don't have my list here. Next Thursday, it's going to be the Islamization of Europe.
Baby.
Yeah. Hey, Wes. How you doing? What are you doing? Popping in? Okay. I don't know if Wes. Wes, you are on the air. I see your face. I don't know if you can hear me, but you're definitely on with us. So, check. Am I on? Hello. Any audio? All right. Hopefully the chat will tell me if they can hear me okay.
I can hear you all right.
You can hear me. All right. Good. All right. That's just making sure.
I went wireless right now, man. So
you okay?
Yeah,
Good.
so hey man, it sounds good.
Good. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me, so please chime in on the chat there. Because when I see Wes jump on like that, it makes me nervous. And I'm like, oh, hell. What have I done?
No.
What have I broken? Okay, so cool. I just want to make sure you're here for me. You know, and let's... okay, so, all right. So they're saying that they can hear me, but they can't hear you. All right, so very good. And that's okay, because I want to pass along on behalf of Wes and his bride, Victoria. She has been through it with ovarian cancer since last summer. And so there's a fundraiser, and I'm going to ask Wes to, since obviously we can't hear you, Wes, so we're just going to have you put in the chat a link to the GoFundMe. And actually, it's a Give, Send, Go link to help with the medical costs, which are just outrageous anytime that you go up against cancer. My gosh, our prayers to Vic and your family, Wes, and please take care of her. And anything that y'all can do, your prayers are obviously very welcome.
Can everybody hear me right now?
I don't know. I can hear you, but I'm not going on that one. So,
no, thank you so much to everybody. I actually have Victoria here.
Well, let's hold off on having her until we know about audio. So please put in the chat. Please put the link to the fundraiser, and let's help her out any way we can. And so breaking news. I forgot. Tomorrow I've got a couple of fun guests that you'll enjoy. JP Decker, who heads up Mercury One. He will be my Friday live stream guest as well. It'll be the first visit for Kelly Smith. So join us for some fun and frivolity on the Friday live stream here at 3 p.m. Eastern. Wes, I can hear some. Can you take your mic off? Because I'm hearing a lot going on in my ears, and I appreciate that a lot. So breaking news, despite the efforts of Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, two terrible Republican senators, by a vote of 51 to 49, Kash Patel was still confirmed as FBI director. I will say this is a 4 for 4 for Donald Trump. This, honestly, I did not expect that he would get all of these. I thought maybe 3 of 4. When I'm talking about Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, Robert Kennedy for Health and Human Services, and now Kash Patel, FBI Director. Oh, look at that. We got DeGarebear's presentation already showing. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, 4 for 4. Congratulations, Donald Trump, getting all of his nominees thus far. None of them have lost in the Senate. So Kash Patel confirmed. I don't know if the Epstein files are still available at the FBI building, at the old J. Edgar Hoover building, but if they are, we should be seeing those tomorrow, I understand. All right, so my guest today has been on with us before. In fact, it's pinned to the top of the YouTube page. If you want to go to youtube.com/@the-mic. See this? You gotta put the little @ And by the way, this is wet because I just dumped an entire glass of water. This thing was almost full when it started. Instead, it ended up all across the desk. And I cannot find. I have a roll of paper towels sitting here for a year. Never needed them. This happens, And I don't know where they're at, but they're not in here anymore. So, just a personal problem. Okay, so my guest was on August 8th. Pinned to the top of the YouTube channel is the show we did with him. I like talking with smart people, and Gare Bear is definitely one of those individuals who knows a lot of stuff. So we had him on to talk about central bank digital currencies and the threat that presents to freedom-loving people everywhere, especially Europe. But we're not in the clear yet either, but we've made a lot of progress, I think. But anyway, so I wanted to have him back on because he knows a lot about 15-minute cities and the threat that that we face from those entities. Because boy, the WEF and the New World Order and all the big government types, they really love to impose their will on us. And I've got Gare Bear here as a guest yet again, and I respect people's anonymity, because not everybody has a job like me, where you have management that encourages free speech and free thinking. So not everybody's got that luxury. So Gare Bear, can you hear me okay? You doing all right there?
Oh, doing just fine. The joys of technology and trying to make it work.
Yes, yes. So you are dialed in from, I believe it is Nome, Alaska, where you... No, just kidding. We're going to keep your identity definitely safe here. But I wanted to talk to you about this 15-minute city stuff, because after we did the CBDC show, we got to talking, and one thing led to another. I was like, let's do a show on this. And this kind of thing terrifies me. If people don't know what a 15-minute city is, can you give us a thumbnail sketch of, when they hear that, what should they be thinking, but what do those that run the world want you to be thinking about?
So with a 15-minute city, it's the basis of it is anything you need is within 15 minutes, normally by walking.
Sounds great, right?
Sounds fantastic. Convenient. Everything is, just up the road, as I would say. That is also more, as far as the conspiracy goes, a control mechanism. That if anyone is familiar with like the Hunger Games, where there were each districts, it's almost broken up to that, but the districts are 15 minutes in any direction. So
how neat. It sounds convenient to me. So why do people like you think that we should be concerned about something as cool sounding as a convenient 15-minute city?
Well, and again, kind of like I said before, I try and come at things as apolitical as possible. Mm-hmm. So in the event that we're talking about 15-minute cities, again, the sale on this would be it's ease and simplicity. It's everything at your disposal that you would quote unquote need is relatively close. There's no 30-minute drive to Target or, your Home Depot or whatever you need. There's less smog, less traffic, less congestion. Everything is ease, simplicity, and available.
Sounds delightful.
Yes. The problem is that requires a very strict structure, and inevitably, to make it work, limiting freedoms and choice and everything that we hold dear, more or less.
Okay. So you've got a nice outline here for us, with lots of videos and pictures and all sorts of fun stuff here. Did you want me to start in on this, or where do you want to go from here to begin with?
Well, again, joys of technology.
I know you've got some slides. You've got the, in fact, it popped up. It was so eager to participate in today's discussion. The 15-minute city, I think you have your first slide that popped up there earlier. Let's see there, boom. There it is, 15-minute cities we got there. Look at that.
And the joy of this, we can't really do this without going full screen.
Full screen.
So,
okay.
15-minute cities, and what you see here is, relatively a graphic that would go inside or coincide with the discussion. You would have your housing nearby. You would have retail, public service, whatever that might be for you. Education, obviously, also parks. We can't forget about those. And that's one thing that comes up a lot, sustainable mobility. This model, and we'll get into it later, but this model really relies heavily on walking, biking, public transit. there's not much discussion of your vehicle. It's what's good for the community. So when it comes down to this, and trying to think of a good way to say this.
Are you able to, I'm sorry, are you able to zoom in a little bit, that little bar in the bottom right corner? Does that help any? So that we can see all these fun, awesome advantages of 15-minute cities?
Okay, so that's really kind of fun. It didn't go full screen for you guys, huh?
No,
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, let's do this. So let's try and do...
I'd imagine that the internet connection and the technology is a little difficult up in Nome, Alaska, where you're based out of.
We'll make it work.
Okay.
So...
That's cool. That's cool. I don't want you to stress too much on this. It's okay. I was just trying to be able to see it, and now it's zoomed in crazy tight. Yep. So just go back the way it was. It's fine. I'd rather hear your information than look at the pretty pictures anyway.
So whenever you come across the discussion of 15-minute cities, more than likely you're going to be told you're a conspiracy theorist.
Sure.
That there's no such plan in place. People aren't talking about that. There's no need to worry about things like this until you really delve into it. And this, hands down, one of my favorite headlines over the last few years. For those listening, the headline is from Forbes, 15-minute city conspiracy theories, insane, says 15-minute city creator.
That's awesome.
There's a gentleman out there, Carlos Moreno, published a book. It's available on Amazon. And it goes through the entire theory and a very light and fluffy and friendly version of what a 15-minute city is. And it's basically what we laid out, that from where you are, where the epicenter is, anything is available within 15 minutes, normally by walking or cycling. Mm-hmm. Since then, he's taken time to discredit it, its conspiracy, and everything else like that, until you start digging in that there are many politicians promoting this. There's some of our local politicians that we'd be familiar with here. Notably, there's the mayor of Paris is a large proponent on this, and in fact ran on this in her last election bid. And not too long ago, a Canadian politician, I believe we have a clip of that, was out there basically promoting what these are and why they're so great.
Okay, that's my cue. Let's see. Why won't it let me? It won't let me click it. It was letting me click it before we got started, but now it won't. Let's see. Here we go.
Which clip is this?
Stand by. Here we go. Someone is sharing their screen. Okay, so we're going to have you unshare your screen, apparently, Gary Bear. There we go. Okay, now here we go. Stand by.
A 15-minute city.
All right.
It's something that's so convenient. Everything is going to be within 15 minutes of you. You're not going to have to worry about traffic because people won't need a car. And when we say 15 minutes, we mean a 15-minute walk, not a 15-minute drive. We want you to live in an area, a district, where everything that you need is a 1.5 kilometer walk in every direction.
Wow. No. First of all, I don't like the way he says a boat. That's the first red flag. And then he used that word district.
That's actually one term that keeps coming up again and again and again. Again, to play it fair, call balls and strikes. Mm-hmm. Whether it's New York, you have the boroughs. Chicago has wards. Many different, it's either Houston or El Paso, one of those. They're broken up into districts, and it's for local government. So we already have some of this framework in place. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm a little weary of anyone, especially when it comes to where you're allowed to go versus not, and then calling it a district. That changes the dynamic of that word.
That's not fun. Yeah, that's not an American word, honestly.
No.
Okay, so that's a Canadian politician.
And just kind of on the fly here, Yeah, it is not going to let me go full screen on the presentation, so I'll probably just keep that one off, and we'll just go with video and go from there.
All right.
But speaking internationally, we already spoke about the Paris mayor, Ms. Hidalgo. She ran her pretty much entire election bid. Not entirely on this, but it was a prominent feature to the point that some of the articles about it was a key pillar of her election bid. So
wow,
this is
the Parisians were good with that as a
votes fell in
issue?
her favor. How about that?
Yeah, votes fell. That's good. I'm going to start using that line when I think there's some funny business going on with election results. Yeah, the votes fell in your favor. Okay, so let's see. Did we go to this new Cleveland clip here?
Yeah, I was about to say it's not just over there, not just north of us.
Yeah.
You can, if you do the digging, you do the research, you can find news clips all around. Two notably, we got Cleveland on deck, and then down a little bit, Fort Myers.
Oh boy! All right, so here's this Cleveland thing.
Mayor Bibb introduced the idea of being the first 15-minute city in the United States. He did this in his State of the City address last night.
The urban planning model is new, but city planners told our Sarah Shookman the time is now to tap into federal dollars to address some of Cleveland's deeper problems.
Imagine a Cleveland where everything you need is less than 15 minutes away.
It's this ideal planning framework where human needs and desires are accessible within a 15-minute walk, bicycle ride, or transit trip. And that's really what we're striving for in this new planning model.
City planner Matt Moss says it doesn't have to be a dream. Instead of a concrete jungle where people work and separate places where people live, in a 15-minute city, everything is closer.
It's starting out with the city we have now, and then asking residents how they might want their community to grow or change in ways that, again, make things more accessible or provide them with more opportunities to access the things they want to get to in their day-to-day life.
Hang on. Before you say anything, I have to revisit a part of this video. What something he said here. Hang on one second.
In 15 minutes away.
It's this ideal planning framework where human needs...
Ideal planning framework.
There you go.
No, I don't. I'm a human being. You're not gonna... Maybe I'm a little too sensitive, but I don't like that phraseology there. Ideal planning framework where... Oh, then it gets more dystopian.
Planning framework where human needs and desires are accessible within a
15-minute walk. Get out of my face. Oh, these people. Okay, what now?
No, that I'm glad you caught that. Because, again, it's almost like a throwaway line that it's just, right there and then moving on to the next. And nice big words. No, that planning.
I don't need convenience. I need freedom. And then I'll figure it out from there. Oh, this guy. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
And kind of going back to Canada, just because, they're our neighbor to the north.
Oh, boy.
What happens there does have influence. The next video we have up is from Edmonton.
Can I just say,
yeah,
if Canada actually becomes the 51st state, it needs to be the 51st state. It doesn't need to be broken up into 11 provinces and 3 territories. There's too many electoral votes. Wait, hold on. Let me think this through. Shit, no, hang on. I got to get back to you on that. I was just thinking, there's only a couple of real conservative provinces in Canada. So that's not gonna. I'm just trying to think this through. I gotta get back to you on this. I gotta work the math. But anyway, all right. Let me play the Edmonton clip here. Hang on. Here we go. Play it.
3 years of planning, city administration is presenting its vision to accommodate a population of 2 million people through 15-minute cities. 3 days of public hearings on the plan began at City Hall this morning. Shailen Skulski has more.
The 50 new district plans and corresponding bylaws will replace 54 existing planning documents dating back to the 1980s. Administration says the goal is to accommodate 600,000 new residents in redeveloped areas, with 50% of all new home units added through infill. The plan also calls for half of all future travel to be done by transit, and for residents to access all their daily needs within 15 minutes. Not everyone supports the plan.
My understanding is that this means I will need to stay within my district.
Can I just pause this right here? And I'm sorry to interrupt your presentation here, Gary.
No, it's cool.
But you know what we're seeing here, and I know that you don't need me to point this out, and this intelligent audience doesn't need me to point this out. But a telltale sign that you're being played by a globalist agenda is when you hear the same freaking phrases and same beautiful descriptions across the board. We've had, what have we had now? I don't know where in Canada that one guy was, but Cleveland and Edmonton, and I imagine all these, several other videos are going to, it's obviously the same talking points sent down from the office of Klaus Schwab. This is just like COVID. This is like, what was the damn Build Back Better? I mean, it's all connected to this international force. Anyway, I'll let this continue.
My district to meet all my needs so that the city can meet its climate plan objectives.
I don't think Edmontonians can afford.
I'm sorry. Again, I'm an asshole for doing this. I have to interrupt again. I would guarantee, I'm a betting man and I suck at gambling. However, I bet that I would win if you go to a city council meeting in Cleveland or Fort Myers or El Paso or wherever else these examples are, and I bet they're reading the same verbatim letters with just different names instead of down at Cherry Street in Cleveland, it's down at Canuck Boulevard, but it's the same letter being sent from a citizen there in the town. I'm sorry.
Edmontonians can afford to be part of a renovation experiment of this size so quickly.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of the district plan in particular have been derailed by 15-minute cities, conspiracy theories, World Economic Forums, etc. At the end of the day, this is about land use.
At the end of the day, it's about land use, Gary. What do you think of that?
And that's, for those of you listening and probably watching, there were, 24 different clips like this I sent in. Not everything made it to what we're going to talk about today. One of them in particular, Eddie Griffin, where he really dives into tying this to recent natural disasters.
How long is that video? Just out of curiosity.
I think he goes on for a good 3-4 minutes.
You say 3 or 4?
Oh, can I just jump in? We did get the Eddie Griffin. I did get the one on the link, and it's about 1 minute.
Okay. Well, we might get to that later. I've got it.
I got it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
So, bye, Wes. All right. So
the reason I kind of and the reason I kind of make or not say it that way, everyone's entitled to their theory. Everyone like that. Mm-hmm. My basis here is to kind of point out this is a little more than conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy published articles and plans from many different areas, all seeming to coalesce and go along, like you said, with the same narrative, that statistically everyone having this idea on their own, rather unlikely. What the execution method is, or how they plan to implement it, or where they're going to have the available area to build, that's up for speculation, and everyone has a theory on that, to include, as we mentioned, Mr. Griffin.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, sorry.
Also, just side note, given I'm having fun with the presentation over here, not really wanting to cooperate.
Okay. No,
any of the links, anything I'm citing, I'm actually putting in the Twitter or X
okay.
Live chat. So
awesome.
Everything is cited there as we're going along. For those who are not on Twitter, sorry.
But they're not going to show up if your account is locked. I'm just saying.
That's the fun part. It's in the chat for the.
Oh, good. Okay, so I hope it's showing up there for everyone. If not, we'll get that figured out for sure. But I love how the onus is on us, the people that are resistant to this kind of advancement in this radicalization of our way of life. That one clip right there, for example, where half of us will be traveling by mass transit. No, we will not. But we're the conspiracy theorists. When they use the same language, the same talking points, the same planning that goes into something like Agenda 21, Event 201, now 15-minute cities, It's not a conspiracy theory. Are you trying to get us to believe that you people all just happen to have the same ideas at the same time around the world? They didn't come from some one singular source. Anyway, I digress. I'll let you continue on with your presentation, Gare.
No, that's quite all right. And I mean, the video from Edmonton really, again, I'm glad you're picking up. It's the same verbiage, the same talking points as, excellent point, Build Back Better. This is along the same lines. Someone got the memo somewhere. Everyone's following it. Like we've all seen the pre-recorded speech that many different news outlets had. Magically, they're all saying it. You can superimpose it to where they're practically saying it in unison.
Yeah. Yep.
Go to these city councils, watch the news reporting of these. It almost has that same feel. There was a memo that went out. Here's the talking points. And as with the next video, I believe out of Fort Myers.
Yeah.
It kind of points that one out.
Okay. And I'll play the Fort Myers. But first, I want to point this out. They gather in central locations like a Davos or a Brussels or wherever. They all gather together, yet they don't want us to believe that they all have the same plan, the same marching orders for us. Give me a break.
Very true.
Director of Economic Development Stephen Weathers says the success of any city comes down to the success of its downtown.
So one of the things I've found in the cities I've worked in, what makes a downtown appealing is I don't have to go outside of the downtown for, say, a grocery store or for a gas station or for a dry cleaner. We really want to make this the 15-minute city.
The 15-minute city is an urban planning concept where everyday necessities are easily reachable within a 15-minute walk or a 15-minute bike ride. This concept can promote more green spaces, but it can also decrease carbon emissions.
Oh, yeah!
From an environmental standpoint, one of the biggest pieces is that if we're driving less, we're putting less carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We're slowing the pace at which we're changing the climate. And I think most good 15-minute city approaches include a significant amount of green space within walking distance, because we're finding out that that's really good for people. There is a lot of people who would like to have the 15-minute concept outside their door. They would like to be able to walk to the grocery store, take a bike to their doctor's office. Maybe there really are people who think, yeah, I need a 2-hour commute every day. I love that. I don't know who they are, but maybe they're out there. But we need more options.
And ditching the car is an option many residents enjoy in Mercado, a multi-use community in Naples.
Everything's within walking distance.
Developed back in 2008.
And I think it was ahead of its time.
Mercado manager Michael McLean says the community has 92 condos, 43 single-family homes, and over 80 tenants.
You can start at 6 a.m. at Yoga Loft or Mandu or Cycle Bar. Go to Whole Foods, get your groceries, go shopping, go see a movie, and literally spend your entire day at Mercado.
As Southwest Florida grows, more 15-minute cities are likely.
So I'm a caveman, aren't I, to reject this idea of convenience and saving the planet? Look at that. It's the best of both worlds. I can save the planet and have all this convenience. What's my problem, dude?
Well, and again, it kind of mirrors the conversation we had about CBDCs. And don't worry, folks, we're not going into that again. I know that was enthralling for many of you. It's the convenience. It's the simplicity. It's everything is at my fingertips. I don't have to worry, as he pointed out, that 2-hour commute, quote unquote. I mean, honestly, right now, depending on what city you're in, a 2-hour commute could be nothing more than 10 miles.
Traffic sucks, bro. I'm with him on that. It does suck, but I'm not giving up my freedom because of a commute.
And that's where it is, and I can't predict what will happen, but I could see this being a much easier selling point for sub 40s, because many of them are very used to a downtown environment. People under the age of 40, there was this resurgence of going into the cities and everything being nearby, and Uber and Lyft and taxis, and just I knew many people in a metropolitan area didn't have a car because when they needed to go visit family, the train would drop them off right near the airport if they needed to fly. Or if they needed to go to a friend's house, Uber, taxis, Lyft, whatever. There were some that didn't have a car. So this centralized, localized idea can really gain traction.
It can, and especially if you're getting a population straight out of college that is used to everything being so centrally located. Right? You got a campus where everything you need, your education, your food, your entertainment, everything is right there. But as I'm thinking this through, and I don't know if this is a dastardly element of the 15-minute cities, but boy, you talk about a way to isolate people from the rest of the world. If I can't just hop, and drive to wherever I want to 3 hours away or an hour and a half away, if I don't have transportation, I'm just focused right there, all my needs are met right here, I'm pretty isolated. Again, I haven't really sat back and thought too much into that aspect of it, but boy, if you have isolated pockets that you can concentrate on it, and boy, you talk about quarantining for the next lockdown, whoo, that'd be easier.
And yep, it's advantageous that you stumbled upon that, because that will play into, especially as we get towards areas that are already implementing this.
All right,
that does come up. And as far as travel, they're already they try and do the carbon offset in some cities that have already started to implement this strategy, that you are allowed so much movement with a personal vehicle, and as soon as you exceed that, you start getting fines, to the point that there was a small town started putting up what are those pylons called, the bollards, that you had to scan out, and if you had exceeded your scans, you couldn't go. You had to turn around, go park it, and walk.
Explain that to people, because it's not just some codger here, this 48-year-old guy with the attitude of an 88-year-old guy. There are consequences. It's not like this is the best of both worlds. You're saving the environment. You're living in a convenient. Think of the time that you just saved in your car that now you can spend doing whatever. You could spend 2 extra hours on the PlayStation every night. Whatever you want to do with that time. Just imagine that. Hell no. Talk about that right there, about how they scan you as you're traveling around your little 15-minute city. You try to exceed that amount of usage that you're allotted. It's the exact same reason why you don't give the government access to your healthcare choices. Wow, the government's paying for my doctor's visits. Well, yeah, but they also control your diet and your life and everything about you. And you're going to be scanning at a grocery store someday, and a picture of RFK staring at you is going to pop up. But no, seriously, it's I'm sorry. Your last doctor's visit, your blood pressure was way too high. And I mean, this is going to unravel into social credit scores, which is already a thing in many parts of the world. I mean, there are so many ramifications to giving into something, and this is how communism works. This is how it went from red to green. Let's guilt these people. This is how we get them and control their minds, by convincing them that they're doing good, and this is necessary to save the world for everyone, and you're handing them your freedoms one agreement at a time. I'm sorry, continue.
Well, and you touched on many concerns that come up with this discussion. And while again, everyone will dismiss this as, oh no, it's conspiracy theory. You're worrying too much. You're thinking too far into it. Unfortunately, we can pull some receipts on some of that. Before we get too far down that road, for those of you following along on the app formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, in the chat for this episode, I am posting a lot of the links. You can go look them up yourself. One of them that I just threw in there most recently is from the United Nations themselves. Again, this isn't conspiracy. This isn't leaked documents. This is published on the UN website, and the title is Cities 2030. Again, keep in mind that year comes up a lot in this discussion for one reason or another.
2030, okay.
But Cities 2030, Cities for All, implementing the new urban agenda. And you can go through this article.
Oh, sorry.
And it gives a nice, again, a fluffy, compassionate, everything's going to be okay, the government loves me so, this I know, type attitude when it comes to these 15-minute cities and A, how they're going to be implemented, B, their goals. And their goals are always sustainability, first and foremost. Even in some of these, they lay out the 10 priorities. Carbon emissions and climate are the number one priority. 9 times out of 10, you'll see all the way at the bottom, if listed at all, personal health. So even on a lot of these documents, they're putting climate first. So is what it is. But the important part is when you dig into the training manual, they have training materials on the bottom right side of that page. That's where it starts to get really, really interesting. If you're following along, again, bottom right of that page, training materials for implementing smart cities. And it goes through where these are located, primarily for the Asian Pacific and Southeast Asia.
So before you continue there, let me throw out some things here. I can't put the comments here on the screen for whatever reason today, y'all, but over at youtube.com/@themic, there's a lot of, first of all, Teresa, thank you so much for the $5. That was very kind of you. Thank you so much. I see the comment. Yeah, Tam B says, Keith, imagine this concept of walking everywhere when your 3 kids were very young. Right. So my kids are now ages 21, 19, and 17, but they weren't always that old with their own cars. They saved up money and commuted to jobs and were able to purchase their own vehicles and, in so doing, purchasing their freedom. I cannot imagine, Tam, having 3 young kids, living in this little area without being able to travel freely. And maybe that's what these globalists want. They don't want you to have kids. They don't want... I'm just spitballing here a little bit. But when you see who is publishing these documents that you're referring to, Gare, and you know how they feel about individuality and freedom and procreation, it really puts things into a different perspective. It kind of makes it all come together, doesn't it? But continue, please.
No, it's quite all right. And I spent, some time going through this training material, and boundless information is in here. And I only pulled a few things just to kind of really drive home the point. A, what the intent is. B, maybe some of who the players are, but also what they're going to be using. And one of the first things that really caught my eye, how familiar are you with the Internet of Things?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, which, by the way, one other point I want to make. Has the ascension of Donald Trump onto the world scene, has that put a governor on some of these globalist agenda plans? And then I'll answer the question on the other.
So the last time you asked me about a topic we were discussing and Trump's influence.
Oh, hell, am I asking the same questions? Oh, that's not good.
No, it's cool. The last time you asked was, what do you think Trump is going to, his impact on central bank digital currencies?
All right, because we talked in August, before the election.
Yes, before the election. And everyone, if you were listening then, I openly admit I was hesitant. I did not have faith that he would make a move on it just because of the amount of pushback he's already getting and even was just running. I stand corrected. He came out with that executive order. He has been very vocal about it.
And while I appreciate executive orders, I sure love to see those things codified into law.
Exactly. So when it comes to this, again, balls and strikes, I can see there's going to be a lot of building that needs to happen with a plan for a 15-minute city. A lot of infrastructure work. This would be a union's dream. So from an economic standpoint of, and in all reality, artificially pumping up an economy by forcing this kind of construction, I could see any politician being for it just because it'll bring money in, it'll bring jobs.
Yeah.
From a freedom aspect, admittedly, Trump 2.0 seems very different than the first time around.
Yeah, well, so, it's only been 1 month today.
Exactly. So if this was the first term,
I know,
I'd be a little hesitant because he came out, for lack of a better term, shooting from the hip with bump stocks. I could see if someone said nice things, maybe he could be talked into it. Now, I can see him probably putting up a fight.
Yeah, he's got much better people, much more small government-minded types around him. So to your question about Internet of Things, when I hear that phrase Internet of Things, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think your house thermostat that you can access from your phone, your refrigerator that tells you when you're low on milk. You want me to order some milk for you? Things in your household items that are connected to the internet. Is that accurate or no?
It's accurate, and again goes to the sale of convenience. Basically, the Internet of Things, and we're, depending on how plugged in you are, so to say, you're partially on the way there. Thermostat, great example. You can sync up your thermostat with your phone, and hey, it's great. While you're at work, you can go ahead and set the temperature in your house to make sure it's nice and cozy when you get home, especially on those cold Dallas days.
Dallas days. We got them.
What everyone forgets or chooses not to really engage with is how many people do you know in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that signed up for the smart meters that they were coming in and manually raising the temperature, lowering the temperature because of a heat wave going on? I mean, I can tell you, I got people in the area that when they first moved there, it was a great promotion, so they signed up. They would sit there, dial it down, and watch it be dialed back up remotely. Because during a heat wave or things like that, there's stress on the electrical grid. Well, you got to sacrifice a little bit of your comfort to make sure the grid goes up. Do that 100 times, you can protect the grid. So that's a small...
I swear, man, I hate this stuff. And if you do decide to go with the app to control your heating and air and stuff, which I will say, boy, that sure is convenient when you don't have to get out of bed in the middle of the night. Maybe it's really cold, and boy, I want to go turn up the heater. Well, hell, I don't want to get out from under the covers to do that. How convenient is that? But I will say, if you do decide to go the route of the app controlling your thermostat, be sure, because just in case John Connor doesn't defeat Skynet, you want to at least have in a drawer somewhere the old school thermostats that you can plug in once the machines start taking over, or once you see, like you just mentioned, oh crap, they're controlling my thermostat. They absolutely are controlling my thermostat. You could plug in your old one. Don't get rid of those. I still have this could unravel quickly if I keep babbling, but I have a VCR, that's never been opened before. Buy these old school technologies because you never know when you might need them. But anyway, I digress.
No, it's cool. But so working off of the thermostat, because that's probably one of the things everyone can recognize and is already in use. The Internet of Things is really everything is connected, whether it's the TV, like you said, a fridge, dishwasher. There are already washer and dryers for clothes that you can sync up with your phone. Basically, the Internet of Things is anything and everything that can transmit will. And it will all be providing data and feedback to a data processing unit. That being said, for the example and we don't even have to pick on Texas for this, California. Recently, during some of their heat wave that they had, Tesla owners were told, you can't charge your car. It draws too much. We have to protect the grid.
Think of that. The solution to go green was to buy an electric vehicle. So millions of people buy an electric vehicle, and then they're told, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have the resources for that." I mean, sorry. I mean, so you know what the answer is? Obviously, a 15-minute city where you don't have to depend on electric vehicles. Continue.
No, that's cool. So, but that's really where the Internet of Things comes in, that everything feeds back and it is analyzed for the most efficient use of resources. Reading directly from the training materials, again, from the UN website, the IoT, Internet of Things, system comprises a basic set of devices, intelligent sensors, monitoring devices, actuators for automation, and AI programs that evaluate, monitor, and provide useful extra layer monitoring and control of many processes inherent to urban systems. Now, most people think, oh, especially those last few words, that means, oh, they're going to synchronize the stoplights. Or they'll make sure that trains are on time. Yes and no, because, again, we can pull current examples of shut it down to protect the grid. Or do you really need to charge your vehicle? Or whatever it might be. It's not going to be limited to infrastructure if you include everyone is part of the infrastructure. So, and that's, again, we can dovetail to, that's why there are so many 5G implementation everywhere, because that's really what has enough signal strength to carry this type of data. But different discussion for a different day.
And this is a message to anyone watching right now. Please DM me at Keith Malinak on X if you have an expert that I need to talk to do a show about smart meters. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but Tom Carr, who was a guest on this program with his EMF gizmo to go and try to find ghosts, right? So I ran it out to the smart meters, and sure enough, those things go nuts when you're up against those. We need to have a serious discussion about what those things are emitting and what kind of health threats they possibly pose. Anyway, another discussion, but you mentioned smart meters, and yeah, those don't like them.
Yeah, so Internet of Things is one of the ways that it'll be essential for this type of thing to happen. Again, one thing that plays into every report, white paper, most of the talks that they have on these is also the rise of artificial intelligence. Case in point, in the training material, they say even initial startup, they use Suwon, South Korea as an example. All their government buildings were fitted with various sensors to monitor energy consumption. And after full optimization, the building saw a 30% rise in energy efficiency. And they also say 35% reduction in carbon emissions. So they're going to balance this, save money, help the planet, just make 1984 look like child's play.
Right. So you want me to play this Global AI Summit clip here?
That is actually perfect timing.
Look at that. Here we go. And play.
Very nice that we are all here together, right? But how many of the activities that we have here we could have done over Zoom? Meaning that all the people who flew to Riyadh, if we have stayed home, we have saved tons and tons of CO2. So I think one of the things that we will need...
No, I'm sorry. The Zoom reality in corporate America is heinous. I hate it. And the case can be made, I contend, that you're less efficient when your entire workforce is over Zoom. I mean, look what Doge is uncovering. How many government employees are just sitting at home doing jack squat, and we're paying their salaries? Not anymore. But, for example, at the Blaze, where I would commute every day during COVID, because we had to do the show on camera, on air, and a skeleton crew for a long time. And so many companies were like this. It wasn't unique to us, obviously. But so many people would work remotely that I needed to talk to. I needed to communicate with. People that, in many cases, couldn't be bothered to return emails. Yeah, you know who you are. people that before COVID hit, I would just plop down on a chair next to their cubicle and I'd be like, hey, I need such and such. What do you want me to do? Or, hey, how do we get this done? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I lost that element, and now I'm sending emails that are never returned or rarely returned, and it's very frustrating, and so much less got done behind the scenes of the show than would have normally been accomplished. Anyway, so I'm just saying that having that element where you can actually connect face-to-face in person with your coworkers and your peers get so much more done than whatever this dude is talking about at this AI summit and the Zoom universe that has been created since 2020.
We need to find very soon is a balance between a long haul type of city, the 15-minute.
Is that tap water? Because so help me, if that dude's not drinking tap water, it looks like a bottle of water. Think of the resources that went into that. I mean, the glass and the shipping and then the water and the purification and all the energy. I know, I'm ridiculous.
Minute city, the 0-minute city, where we don't need to go anywhere and access everything that we need. So I think somehow it's counterintuitive to fly 9,000 kilometers to talk about sustainability.
Yep.
It's very nice that we are.
It's nice to know that you realize the hypocrisy.
Yeah, he had a real moment of clarity as he was working out.
I think he backed into that. I don't think he meant to. I think he was just like, "Oh crap."
Yeah, that was a whoops. And one thing he kind of touched on there is flights and things like that. I've been digging for the last week and a half. I could not find the clip, but there was one of these summits where they actually came out and said, flight will be reserved for those of us that need it. And they even mentioned, politicians, world leaders, the elites, as they might be called.
Every now and then they let it slip out. Mm-hmm. No. Who okayed that press release? No, we don't want them to understand what the real goal is here.
And it was kind of an off-the-cuff comment that he made. I forget, was it Schwab? It was one of them, but it was at a meeting kind of like this, like a Davos or a summit, that they said you may be allowed 2, maybe 3 flights in your life. So you got to really, budget those. And that's
what they think. I mean, you want to talk about haves and have-nots. You think it's bad now. Just you wait if they get their way with us on some of these things like 15-minute cities. Oh, my goodness.
And, again, it can be labeled conspiracy. You're just a dude, in a back corner of a garage talking about this. Like, what do we know? The fact is, we're not sitting at a bar saying, what if? All this is published. It's out in the open. It's at summits and Davos and here's just a couple things. Again, presentation didn't happen, so things you can search right quick if you're wanting to learn more. Look up terms COP20, COP27, COP27, okay. G4C network, sustainable cities, smart city zones, human-centered urbanism, plan to deliver 2030 agenda. These are all just little quick hits you can throw out there. You will find more than enough information. And then once you start going that route, you also come across what they call SURGE, S-U-R-G-E, Sustainable Urban Resilience for the Next Generation. That's actually part of the COP27 plan that goes into how this is going to work. This was nothing new either. This was a plan that Egypt started to put into works in 2022. You'll come across the UN Secretary General's SDG stimulus to deliver Agenda 2030. That's from February 2023, and it lays out the funding and who's going to have to participate in that. You'll come across localizing the 2030 agenda with the Sustainable Development Goals from the EU as of this was mid last year. So this has all been out there for some time.
Yeah.
So this This is no longer a theory. This is available at your fingertips.
And don't get me wrong. If someone wants to live off the grid or have solar panels or exclusive to well water or something along those lines or whatever, green energy solutions. I know that a buddy of mine who he is heavily involved in the designing of green buildings and very just awesome ways to harness energy from unusual sources into buildings. If people want to do that, if they want to spend their money on that stuff, absolutely go for it. I'm not making the case against green energy per se on a personal choice level or a private business level. What we're discussing here today is how they are using that, and that's again when red became green, when communism fell. Where did the central planners migrate to? Well, that was the green movement, and so that is just a way to wiggle in. And it's not, they don't wiggle in anymore. Now it's just blatant right out there. We're going to indoctrinate your kids into this stuff, and it's going to be a part of their curriculum. They're going to know more about recycling than they're going to know about how to take care of themselves after school with home ec or general life skills. That's what's been replaced here. Just basic common sense and just how to survival skills. That's been replaced with worshiping the green movement and all this stuff. But anyway, I'm obviously getting off the track here. But that's what they'll do, and so they're wedging into these 15-minute cities as this utopia. So and guilt trip you into, if you really do, it's gone from, hey, that's pretty cool, having a off the grid setup with solar panels, to, so help me, you're going to do this. We're going to go, and just like Glenn Beck has said, it's gone from nudge to shove, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
And I mean, again, balls and strikes. At the end of the day, a 15-minute city where everything is nearby sounds fantastic. It's when you put that wall up and say, you shall not pass.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if everything went well and all this was, implemented in a truly earnest way, I mean, who doesn't love Star Trek? It was a perfect utopia. I want to live in Star Trek. Sounds fun. The problem is we've seen people will find a way to almost abuse this.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem will come.
That's it. Look, if you want to live in a 15-minute city, live in a 15-minute city. But
Exactly.
just know you're going to have somebody scanning your car every time you go down the block. Okay, what do we got here? The line, is that's next?
I was about to say, for anyone familiar with the concept of a 15-minute city, you've obviously heard of the line. And we would be remiss if we didn't at least throw that out there so that those that haven't heard of it can see it. It's a plan that, well, the name alone, the line.
The line.
Look, I think this video kind of lays it out very well.
Okay, it sounds like the kind of place I'd want to see, just to say, yeah, I checked it out, it's pretty cool. But I wouldn't want to live there. Watch this. Oh no. The line. Oh no, I like it. Oh. I take it back. I don't want to visit there. I'm afraid I'd never be allowed to leave.
Because again, I mean, for those of you watching, again, it's Star Trek. It's fun. For those of you listening, the promise is that it's 100 miles long.
Oh, hang on. Should I put out the music here?
Rail, travel end to end, in 20 minutes is what they said. But everything will be accessible inside, entirely solar and renewable.
Oh, no more cold days.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And it's, literally a 30-story tall mirror on each side. I think they said 4 or 5 miles wide, but 106 miles long. And that's why they call it the line, because it just looks like you took a Sharpie and just drew it on the map.
You know, on my day job, Pat Gray Unleashed, when we talked about the line and played the video, we I think we concluded and keep in mind, it's in the Middle East and in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yep.
You talk about a target, a terrorist target sitting on a T. That's terrifying to think of the damage you could do with a high concentration of people like that in such a volatile area. But anyway, cool. Yeah, you want to live in the desert? We've got the perfect setup for you. Okay. Yeah. No, thank you. But all right.
And so that's just an example of something that's in the works. I think they started digging, a year and a half ago. Like, they're still in the laying everything out phase. It's nowhere near completion and barely even started. But some other examples that are actually available now would be the next two videos.
Okay.
These are actually in the South Pacific.
Okay, Hypercity Tower, huh? Is that right? Oh no. Hang on. That is this what you're talking about in China?
Yeah, it should be Munzu, China.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Just looking right there, not being zoomed in, it just looks like vertical poverty. Am I wrong?
Well,
what am I looking at here? Maybe
this
not.
would be, if you're familiar of the old, and this is going back 20, 25 years conspiracy, the FEMA camps and everything else like that Alex Jones was going on about around the turn of the century. The term stack 'em and pack 'em was real popular.
Yes.
This would be the embodiment of that.
I have seen videos. I forgot what it was. It was like a documentary or something. I'm trying to think of what it was. But this guy, it was in China, and he rented. It's a concrete coffin, bro. Like that was what, at the end of his day, he would go home to and it sounds like something out of a bad sci-fi film, but this long, just
oh yeah,
6 feet long. He crawled into the slab with a change of clothes or something, maybe a toothbrush. I can't remember. It was nothing, and he slept in a coffin, and there was a curtain. Like, that was the divider from him to the outside world. And there were all of these stacked coffins, for lack of a better descriptor, that was enclosed on 3 out of 4 sides. And you want a place to sleep? Here you go. I mean, that's what we're not people to them. We're not individuals to these kind of tyrannical regimes. They have a mask on right now, and the mask says, come and save the planet and enjoy green living. But in reality, it's all about control. And if you think that your quality of life is going to get better, and that kind of... No, it's just like communism. You will all live the exact same way. Oh, no thank you.
And this next video is actually
Hang on a second. Hang on. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. This is actually a cluster of those.
Oh, no.
Some of these are currently being developed, but this is the model, and this actually is a good visualization of how a 15-minute city could be put together.
Okay. I don't think we need the narration, since we have no idea what he's saying.
Yeah,
he's probably saying, look how beautiful this is. Don't you want to live here among the beauty? So much beauty.
For those of you listening, the aerial shot looks like a standard large metropolitan area with 30, 40-story buildings, until you realize there's just blocks and blocks and blocks of these buildings, and they're all domiciles. They're all apartments. And this is how you would get not 10,000 people into a square block. This is how you could get 20, 30, and now all of a sudden you have 4, 5, 6 city blocks like that. You can get a very large populace into a very confined area.
I mean, that is your 15-minute city.
Exactly.
Reality.
Exactly. And if it's, let's say, 15 minutes by just, dropping a pin and walking, you could have hundreds of thousands of people within that 15-minute area. Very
Pass. I accidentally started this next video. Did you want me to wait on that?
Which one's? Oh, the control movement. This is actually an example. This was shortly after the lockdowns they experienced in 2020.
Okay.
But what came in didn't necessarily leave, and there are areas of the South Pacific that are starting to implement just as normal course checkpoints and health pass and everything else. And this is one of those examples of controlling movement.
You know, the moment that I knew we were headed down a sinister road, and if you ever hear this phrase anytime in your life, and make sure your kids know this phrase, because there will be things on the horizon. Maybe it's the bird flu. Maybe it's that soon. But maybe it's something down the road. Maybe it's another generation before we go through something like we did with, or they attempt to pull something like they did with COVID. Mm-hmm. When you hear the phrase, and this was early on, and it was Governor Tom Ridge of Pennsylvania, when he used, I remember saying this on Pat's show, I was like, okay, rewind that. That's not good. And he used the phrase, the new normal. Mm-hmm. When you start hearing that phrase, turn and run the other direction. And to your point about, I haven't seen this video, but it sounds like what you just set up here, they implemented something and now it's the new normal, right? Okay, let's see here. Hang on. Getting ahead of myself.
A green code on the health app is also required for buses and subways.
Still.
Even access to apartments is now monitored. Everyone in Beijing lives within a gated compound with only one entrance. There are checkpoints everywhere. Wang Yu lives in the Beijing suburbs. Only after a heated argument do the security guards allow her into her own building without a scan. All visitors must also log in. No one knows what will happen tomorrow. Maybe the guard won't let me through, and I won't be able to get in. And this is all illegal. The Chinese government has turned the Corona app into a surveillance tool. Every time it's scanned, names and locations are passed.
Hold on.
The Chinese government has turned the Corona app into a surveillance tool. Every time it's scanned, names and locations are passed on to the police.
Can I just side note here?
Mm-hmm.
I doubt this video is airing in China. And even if it were posted for 5 minutes, it would be immediately taken down. But just bear with me here. Hang on. You make your next point. I'm gonna look up two numbers here, and then I'll get back to you. Continue with your presentation, Gare.
Oh no. It and it could kind of to your point there that the new normal. They implemented it. Even says in that news broadcast, this was implemented and it just didn't go away.
Yep.
And there are countless videos and on the scenes reporting. If you are not familiar with what they're talking about, it is a app that you have to check in daily, and it shows whether or not you've been exposed by contact tracing and not self-reporting, but let's say, like right now, Keith comes down with bird flu. Well, through contact tracing, just because of your cell phone and
they tried
with the fun of Internet of Things, even your vehicle or anything else like that, we can see who you were around, who you might have been near, and hence you may also have contracted this. You are now a danger to those around you. So the app they're talking about, if it's green, you can move freely. If it's red or yellow, you cannot. Red, you are confirmed sick or infected. Yellow, you have been exposed, so you're confined.
And they tried it so hard here. They tried that in the United States of America. You remember that? Not only were they saying you had to have a card to go to. I mean, I had tickets to a concert that I skipped out on because I wasn't going to, A, get the vaccine, or B, even make them think that it was okay for them to require me the vaccine through a fake card. Remember that you would print up these cards online, and then they would say, oh, wait a minute, if we catch you with a fake card, you're in trouble. Oh, my gosh. They tried that. They came so close to getting that as the new normal in the United States of America. What I started to say is I checked the population of China. Let's see, what was it? 1.41 billion. Mm-hmm. and the number of Communist Party officials in China is 99 million. Now, check my Keith math, but it would appear to me that the population of China outnumbers the CCP officials by a count of 14-1. Just saying. Anyway, just wanted to point that out there in case anyone in China wanted to run the numbers as to how you change the laws, I guess. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue, please.
It's quite all right. And then this next video that we have here, very similar, shows things from a different angle.
Barbed wire. But wait, it's such a convenient setup. Look, everything I need is right there.
And this is reporting from two, again, districts, so to say, that were separated. And if you look in the background, you can see the checkpoints you need to pass through to move freely amongst those. This being close, one of the exits.
Soundtrack. Yeah. So, I mean, and this isn't unique to China. You recall in Australia, they had the camps where you would be sequestered and forced to stay until you recovered. I remember when families gathered at this at checkpoint, basically. It was like this. It was like a little mini Berlin Wall in Australia where your movements were limited. I don't know that people fully appreciate, this audience will, but generally speaking, you know, your uncle at the Thanksgiving table, or your the person you go to church with. I don't know that people realize how dangerously close to what we're watching here became reality in our own worlds, man. Oh.
Anyway. Spoiler alert. We'll come across that here in a minute.
Okay. See, I didn't want to. Sorry, I didn't want to preview these. I wanted you to make your presentation. I just can't help myself.
That's cool. Because that was just the next point that.
Okay.
Again, the presentation that wasn't.
Okay, so do you want to play
see
video 12? No.
Well, just 1 second here.
Okay.
We can see even locally, as we've shown with news reports and some of the articles that are supported by local cities, even the National Institute for Science and Technology, they have on their own website Smart Cities and Communities Framework Series, and it's an entire, here's what the idea is, kind of what we're doing here, but the fluffy, everything's going to be okay selling points. So it's not just far off, and it's not just to our neighbors to the north. These discussions are happening locally.
Yeah. Again, just a reminder, the truckers who didn't want to get vaccinated had their bank accounts shut down in Canada. It's not that far away.
And the question would always be, well, how can you enforce all of this? Sure, the Internet of Things is a great tool for something along these lines. It can also be used for good. But your cell phone, having the health app, well, what if you just leave your cell phone at home? You take off your smartwatch. In theory, you can't be tracked, right? Well, this is where monitoring and everything else like that comes into play. And some of the things that are already in place in our communities, both here and abroad, that are making that type of tracking easier.
And you recall, your Republican Congress had the opportunity to eliminate the requirement as of 2026 that your car be able to be, well, tracked, but controlled, have a master control. The government can shut your car down now. So Thomas Massie almost stands alone on some of these common sense issues. Okay, so you going to play the next video here? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Yeah, the monitoring and then UK monitoring. Okay. We'll just do that.
Chinese government exercises complete.
Is that the one you want?
Yep, we can do that.
Very good.
Complete control.
This started in 2016, around fall. Cameras were installed everywhere, more and more every day.
KB Noor Siddiq is from Xinjiang, but she now lives in the Netherlands. That's why she can speak freely. Back in her homeland, people who openly criticize the Chinese government face imprisonment. She lived in this residential area, dotted with surveillance cameras. All over Urumqi, facial recognition software is embedded into building entrances, and the information is sent to the police. So the state always knows who's coming and going.
Okay. All right. So, I as I'm watching that, she's in the Netherlands because now she can speak freely. Yeah. Hang in there. It won't be long. And Britain, boy.
Yeah,
careful.
Britain, this, I think it's a one on the street, but yeah, this next one.
Okay, let's go to U.S. monitoring. Oh, okay, let me do U.S. monitoring. Is that what you want me to do? And then you.
These controversial surveillance devices are designed to alert authorities to gunshots, and their exact locations have been kept hidden from police and the public, until now. Wired obtained leaked documents that reveal for the first time the secret locations of 25,580 ShotSpotter microphones. In this video, we'll analyze that data and test the claim of activists that these sensors lead to biased over-policing of communities of color across America. 12 million Americans live in a neighborhood with at least one ShotSpotter microphone. Are you one of them? Let's put ShotSpotter's secret locations on the grid.
And you can go ahead and cut it at this point.
Oh, cut it at this point? Oh, I wanted to see if I lived in a ShotSpotter.
No, you can rewind about 5 seconds, the superimposed map, which these have been going up for, this is nothing new. These have been going up for the better part of 15 years. And
Yeah.
in that previous video, if you noticed, it wasn't 2020 or even 2019. They made mention in that report that the cameras started going up in 2016. And it was about 2019. The previous video mentioned how the cameras were going up 3 years prior to this, but they were already implementing facial recognition at that point. To the point they tested in just one of the suburbs, they gave the person a 15-minute head start to elude detection and tracing by the police just as a test. And they were able to be apprehended in 45 minutes. So,
oh, God.
Again, things like that, it'll be a selling point that
Sure would be.
We can get the bad guys. So,
okay, UK monitoring video.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Sir, behind you, I noticed this brand new camera. Would you mind letting the internet know, specifically Facebook, as to what this AI camera is?
Hang on a second. Hang on. Let me just ask you before I forget. Is there a video coming up or somewhere in your presentation? Are you going to explain to us why in parking lots that I frequent, they have these little, similar to this, little police vehicles with the big tower up there? Is that part of this somewhere?
Oh, those have been popping up in pretty much. Here, how about this? I was out in Omaha 4 years ago, and I saw a couple of those. So it's not
They're all over Fort Worth.
Those are popping up everywhere. Those are, for lack of a better term, mobile surveillance.
Yeah, I figured as much. Big camera, 360. Who's watching those? Is there a central location?
So the best explanation I've seen on those is they should be reporting back to the dispatching precinct. Confirmation on that one way or the other, sparse at best.
I don't like it. Okay. All right, let's see here. Let's see what this guy's going to say about this camera here.
And why they've never heard about them before.
Yeah, so this is a first both for the internet and for us in the UK. This is a trial system that we will hopefully be rolling out across the UK. You've seen it with seatbelts, you've seen it with mobile phones, but now we are detecting impaired driving.
What the hell? So hold on a second. Did he just say, as a matter of fact, pretty excited about it? Yeah, sure. We've been monitoring to make sure that you've had your seatbelt on. We're making sure that you're not on your cell phone in your cars. So these cameras are okay. All right, just sorry.
Driving with the help of these AI cameras behind me. Now we're going to be doing a full video on this. We've got Accusensors, who are the manufacturers and the brains behind this, coming over all the way from Australia to talk to us on this video. It's the only place you're going to see it. And we're going to put that all together and you'll get the information first before anybody else. But if you are thinking of drinking and driving, or you're thinking of ingesting something that perhaps you shouldn't be before you are driving,
Party drugs,
therefore,
smoking weed, anything
that
along
kind of
those
stuff,
lines.
anything that can impair your driving, even down to prescription drugs that say on the side, do not drive or operate
And if we zoom
machinery.
in over there, we will see.
Yeah, these
that there's
things
a
can
little
detect
sign.
it all.
Cool.
So, and that,
That's a good selling point, you know?
It's a good selling point. We're keeping the community safe.
Just trying to keep you safe, you know?
Delve into the first, 5-10 seconds of that a little bit more. It's AI backed. B, they're so delicate and so observant. It's not even, are you wearing a seatbelt? Oh, that's 10-year-old technology. Are you on your phone? Well, it's 5 years old. Going past at 40 miles an hour, it can tell if you're impaired. That is getting to a point of, just dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. So this is going to sound like an extreme example, but please follow me here. Think of how the 2026, now the federal government can take control of your vehicle, a kill switch. That's what I was looking for earlier. Mm-hmm. Okay, so just set that aside. Now, I know for a fact that my phone, I think I'm going to disappoint a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I am a cheap SOB and I look to save money wherever. And oh my gosh, car insurance, when you have 5 drivers, woohoo-wee, that's fun. So I have agreed, trust me, this was a big time internal struggle for me. I agreed to let my car insurance company monitor my phone use. I'm not texting while I'm driving. It's fine, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Again, this was I was tortured over this. But holy crap, when I can save up to 30% off of my insurance bill, I'm going to do it. But here's the problem. On my commute, I have to go over 3 speed bumps. Mm-hmm. And the app is so delicate, even though it's locked in the car, it reads these bumps, if I go a little too fast over them, as, oh, you were handling your phone 3 times on your drive. No, I wasn't. Well, we're going to report back to the insurance company that you, sir, shame, were on your phone. I didn't touch my phone. Stop. And so that is more of a micro level, or at least an early level of something that could be a lot bigger. In other words, well, look at this. This guy is such a reckless driver. We're going to shut down his vehicle. Do you know the context of this? Maybe I was rushing someone to the hospital. Like maybe there's someone bleeding out in my car, or fill in the blank. Any number of reasons that you have that you need to get somewhere fast or recklessly. And the machines are going to be it's not even going to be a human on the other end, y'all. It's going to be AI. It's going to be a computer that goes, you know what? I don't like the way this guy's driving today. Or his social credit score, God forbid, isn't where it needs to be. I think we're going to restrict his movement for 72 hours. Anyway, again, this is what I do, Gare. I get us off track. What's your next video? I'm sorry.
It's okay. We got social credit score coming up.
Oh, God. I swear I didn't see that. That is awesome.
What do you do if you have bad social credit? Well, for one, you talk about it on Weibo, which is like Twitter. There are forums for discredited people to vent and get advice. In Chongqing, we hooked up with Huang Huijun. He had a business until he was sued by a client, and Huang refused to pay 90 grand to settle it. So the court put him on a social credit blacklist, and things got way worse. He explains that being blacklisted means he can't buy airplane or train tickets. When he tries, a message pops up saying he's discredited. By the end of last year, blacklisted people were blocked from booking 23 million flights and 5 million high-speed train trips. And the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job, a loan, a hotel room, or put kids in certain schools. Then there's the public shaming. Photo galleries of blacklisted citizens. There's even an app that shows...
We are so close to that here, y'all. Thank God Kamala Harris didn't win. Because that, I swear, within 4 years, that'd be us.
No?
You can disagree with me. It's okay.
Is this a safe space?
But hold on. Did you notice real quick? Did you notice that the Chinese, it just said, people with really bad social credit scores had 23 million flights blocked and 5 million train trips blocked. Even in places where they implement mass transit in this, you know, this lockdown 15-minute city type society and all the central planning, even there, the people prefer to fly planes than ride trains. Anyway, I digress. Continue.
No, it shows the danger, and this kind of ties into what we were talking about with the central bank digital currency as well. I hate to keep referring to it, but these are all tools that can be used, whether it's a social credit score, central bank digital currency, limiting movement, limiting free travel, any of those things. And even when it comes down to banking, as this next video shows, the ramifications there can be pretty intense as well.
Okay. Is this going to be the American monitoring?
Second social credit score video?
Second social credit score. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, the train one, huh?
Good personal credit. Please obey relevant national laws and regulations and regulations of the railway company. Please don't smoke on the CR8 train. Thank you for your cooperation.
All right, so that wasn't the one I was thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. Maybe I might have just put them out of order, but there's another one. Again, I can post it later, the chat, things like that. Goes into even someone with a high social credit score had a friend that needed a co-borrower for a loan, and even just being helpful and being a good friend and doing something, you know, socially good. By association alone, he got dinged on his social credit score.
And what was he trying to do?
Simply helping a friend co-sign for a loan. His friend had a lower social credit score and needed a backer, and he, having a higher score, came in to be a good friend, and he took the hit.
Oh, that'll
so
teach you.
This can even affect banking and any opportunity you have to start a business, grow a business, things like that.
That'll teach you.
And again, it's
okay, what's this remote in for emergency dispatch? Am I getting ahead of you?
So we can transition to stateside at this point. That if you see the video American monitoring, we'll do the first minute and 20 seconds.
Did I accidentally play that
earlier? These controversial surveillance devices are designed to...
So this is what we started playing earlier. Is that what you're talking about here?
That is, actually. Okay. So,
are designed to alert authorities to gunshots. And they're exact...
Oh, wait, we already played that one.
Yeah, so just skip that one.
My bad. Okay.
No, that's cool. Again, joys of technology cooperating.
Yeah. All right. So what is the remote in for emergency dispatch to phone video? Oh, my gosh. Is this going to be a more real-time situation where, like, police want to see your Ring camera video? I don't work for the cops.
Well, let's press play and everyone can learn together.
What's the location of your emergency?
Okay, gap in communication was revealed.
We had folks that had pre-recorded video that they wanted to share with us, and it was harder. Our system is locked down, as it absolutely should be.
A frustration that led to a game-changing discovery, a new high-tech platform called Prepared Live. With a click on a link, the caller can use their camera and text messaging to give the dispatcher critical information. They can even share their precise location. A caller used Prepared Live to send this live stream of a fire at a Delhi Township barn. You can see the caller's finger pointing to the smoke.
It's hugely beneficial because we can actually pull it up on our screen in our rigs as we're going to the fire and be able to see what's exactly happening in live video.
It's like giving them, you know, like the easy button, like here.
Boy, they got neat ways to get you to agree to this stuff.
And the only reason I kind of bring that up, because again, I thoroughly think that's a great tool.
I'm with you, man.
It can save firefighters' lives because they get an idea what they're going into. Same with police. But any window, anywhere.
How long do they have access? Because I love how the government representative there was like, our system is locked down as it should be. Well, I want my system locked down too. But no, you're right. If I agree to help them, And I would.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know that they're now out of there. You know, how can I confirm that you're no longer accessing my phone?
And that would be the thing is, okay, when are you disconnected? Because as has been admitted, the hockey pucks that everyone has on their counter that they ask what recipes are good. And I'm just avoiding that name so everyone's little unit doesn't go off. Those have been admitted. They're constantly listening.
Absolutely, they are.
It can't be, oh, I just say the phrase and then it turns on. No, it has to be listening for it. And that has been exposed in a couple of lawsuits, divorces, I believe even a murder trial.
Yes.
That the audio was there because it's always listening. Same goes there. So that being
Seriously,
said,
man.
we're back stateside. And
we're back stateside.
There's one here. It plays in, especially when you think about the previous discussion of the health app and how that can restrict movement and how the lockdowns occurred, especially in major cities. Incorporate that into a 15-minute city, and we can see some moves already being made legally with the video force lockdown in New York.
Okay, I got it.
We'll do like first 15 seconds if we can.
And then I see, then you want me to skip ahead to 2? Okay, got it.
York, Governor Hochul's plans for quarantine camps may be in the works again.
I'm sorry. Just listen to that. I want to start it over.
Yep.
Again, we are always so much closer to this kind of tyranny than we realize.
York, Governor Hochul's plans for quarantine camps may be in the works again. An appeals court just dismissed a lawsuit from lawmakers and citizen groups. Their attorney, Bobby Ann Cox, disagrees with the decision. We spoke earlier today.
Okay, you may kill it there?
Yeah, let's,
okay,
because they go through a lot of the, oh, hi, how you doing? Yeah, we go
okay,
to,
here we go.
All right.
What happened with this ruling is that they have said, in essence, the lawsuit last year, the ruling there isn't valid anymore. So what that means is that the Department of Health and Governor Hochul are open to reissuing that regulation if they want to, which means they can reinstitute their isolation and quarantine procedures regulation.
I remember when we said this was a big threat and we were all conspiracy theorists. Yep.
Which the judge had struck down last year. So if they can reissue that now, that means that it's going to be a valid regulation and it's going to be enforceable by the Department of Health, the governor, the attorney general. So it's really a dangerous situation. You know, the other thing, and in addition to that regulation now being open to being reissued, the other problem is that this is really bad case law. An appellate court is saying that these legislators don't have the right to bring a lawsuit against the executive branch of government when they feel that the executive branch of government has usurped their power, has taken their power to.
Okay. Did you want me to stop right there?
Yep, that's perfect. Because, again, keep in mind, it's not just the law basically states forcible removal of a person from their home or residence. It's that the governor did this unilaterally and then basically said, no, you can't sue or go to overturn it. And they're going to involve Department of Health and a number of other agencies. This isn't, again, just in a far off land. These type of things and these type of rules are coming locally.
Yes. My goodness. Okay. When do we get to the movie clips? I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched these. I just see what they're titled.
Well, and that's the fun part is that there's a lot of doom and gloom. And I want to point out again that in theory, this is a great idea, but the way it's being constructed is very dangerous for personal freedom. And all we can do is give you guys the information. Believe it, don't believe it, up to you. But again, we're citing sources.
Okay, you know where a 15-minute city might be practical? Because I don't want to just dismiss it out of hand. I want to actually think this through. Let's say a retirement community. Let's say the villages, right? I've driven under the little bridges there near the villages. I've never gone into the villages. I hear it's a wild place, though. I could see people that aren't driving anymore, right?
Well, I mean,
people that have no purpose, no use for cars. The cars don't serve a purpose in their lives. They don't need to go far away. Everything needs to be centrally located for them because they have a difficult time getting around, perhaps. So I can almost see a 15 minute, and then you could, oh my gosh, hang on. You could almost see this. It feels nefarious, but you could also see, no, it's for their own good. There are some old people who get to the point where, you're a little hesitant to let them travel on their own to wherever they want to go, and maybe they need a checkpoint because maybe they're not all there upstairs. I'm just thinking this through. I'm sorry, Millie. We're going to need you to head back to your building. Oh, I was going to go for a walk over there.
No, you're 100% right. And again, in a circumstance like that, it could almost be understandable. This was, all right, so just a crazy idea I had years ago. I couldn't tie it together. But if there's anyone out there with investors behind them and you want to make $1 million, here's a freebie.
Oh.
There's a missing... We're going to come to an inflection point soon with the real estate market where something needs to be done, mainly because a lot of brick and mortar are dying. I don't think anyone can argue that. And one of the hardest hit is malls, these big, massive structures. Well, when we break it down, what is a mall? It's a bunch of small, almost apartments, right? Because they have to have at least a bathroom for the employees. They have ample space. These could be renovated into retirement communities. That's something that I could see along the lines of what you're saying, entirely feasible and great for like a senior living center. It has limited exits. So like you said with Millie, she's not getting out. Most of them already have at least one, if not two, large department stores at either end. Turn one into a grocery, one into a gym. Now the old people at least can go work out. They can do their shopping. If you've ever been to a mall in the morning, most of them are walking anyway.
And everything they need would be right there. I mean, you could turn the food court into the...
And that would be a great execution of a true, almost like a campus, like you were speaking earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
But that would be for a intended populace, not the population at large.
Yes. Yes, a big difference there.
And that's, especially when implementing this idea with the population at large, that's where it really gets doom and gloom and you start citing sources and you just, but there's always some fun to be had. Now, before we get to the fun part, you would ask, like, what cities would be good for this or who's thinking about it? Well, there are a few that Vancouver, Montreal, they're already starting to build this framework in. Paris, Zurich, Barcelona, Vienna, and Portland here locally. They already signed on to the Smart City Initiative.
Oh, no.
Kirkland, Washington is already developing. They're going above and beyond. They're trying to go for extra credit. They're developing what they call a 10-minute neighborhood analysis on how to implement these plans. There was a couple others. Oh, yeah. Out east of LA, there's 150,000 acres already dedicated as part of a Smart City 2028 initiative. And then, as we mentioned earlier, Fort Myers. Do enough digging, you're going to see Tampa come up on the list. I can't confirm that. It's more speculation. There hasn't been any official documentation from the city on that one. So those are just some.
Okay. All right. So before, are these clips from the movie, by the way?
Oh, no. No, okay. These are...
I told you I didn't watch this.
And this just shows what an excellent producer Keith is. Just walked me right into that. So what we're going to be talking about next are Blade Runners.
Okay.
And for those of you that are not familiar, yes, excellent sci-fi movie, but this is a group in the UK.
Do you want to explain the premise of the movie Blade Runner?
I'll be honest, I don't remember.
Okay, fine, whatever. Let's go. That's fine.
But the Blade Runners in the UK, they are a group that are fighting back against the cameras that are being put up everywhere. Because whereas we saw other examples in the East, the United Kingdom has been prolific putting these up and have been for the better part of 20 years. Even, this is probably a 20-year-old movie now, but the movie Green Street Hooligans even makes mention a number of times that London is one of the most surveilled cities in the world. So this has been going on for some time, and the Blade Runners are fighting back.
This is, okay, yeah, here we go. Hello? Hang on. Doesn't like me.
That's a good thing there's multiple.
Here we go. All right, yeah. Take it down. Oh yeah, I like that. Hold on. Can I go to the next one?
Of course.
This is good stuff. In broad daylight. I love it. You're coming with me. Later. I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, hang on. There's another one.
Some of this, Mr. Mel.
Yeah, this one's just kind of silly.
It's got some sunglasses on with this hot weather. It's got an app. We've got some factor 30 for it and all. So we're just going to give it a little bit on the chin, a bit on it, and go all around it. Give it some sun cream. You've left this one out here. Obviously, you ain't bothered. We'll have some. Someone's done the pins on the back of that, so that one's completely mangled. The SIM card's missing, so I think one of the locals has nicked the SIM. And oh yeah, look, the aerial's gone on all. But have a look at that. Look at that for a processor, or what's left of it. Look, it's been cut in half. But yeah, pretty deep scores on this one. But yeah, have a look.
Be ungovernable.
A bit more factor 30. So yeah, we're looking after it.
I don't know what he's saying, but 30, yes, so,
yeah,
I agree.
Get sunburn out of it tomorrow because obviously
going
you
to
don't care
sunburn.
about it. You haven't come to get it. So yeah, the boys have left it for you. Undrawn and quartered. Have a look at this. Look, it's hanging.
Of sorts.
It's hanging. It's been lynched. Lynched from its own ULEZ pile. That's terrible. And I've just noticed the locals have been chucking some dogger in here. So yeah, this has become the local dog shit bin. I'm surprised there's none down there, but then it'd fall out the other end. Have a look at that.
They've been putting their dog poop in the pipe. Okay, that's how you respond to this stuff. In mass, just like that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, kind of like was mentioned before, the Blade Runners are, and part of me was just impressed how quickly some of those saw blades cut through. I'm like, I want to know where I find those for some of the metal work I do. They look phenomenal. Yeah. But yeah, they're going out, and again, we should point out this is destruction of public property. That's always a no-no. Petition your government as you're supposed to. But this is their form of civil disobedience to fight back against the surveillance state that they have a problem with encroaching on their lives. And everything from, as you saw, in broad daylight to them going out at nights, ripping them down, cutting them down. That last one was so mangled that they were just having fun putting sunglasses and a hat on it. Everything along those lines.
Yeah, and like Gare Bear said, just petition your government or something like that. Yeah. So, did you want to play these other ones?
So the last one I want to touch on, and this is just guy playing to a group that's afraid to laugh. Of all people that might have stumbled across something to fight facial recognition, in my wildest dreams, I never would have thought it was the Insane Clown Posse. For those of you familiar, it is a hip-hop, rap, rock group from late 90s, early 2000s.
Hold on, is this a music video or
no? Actually, a news report. It's
okay. Which
phenomenal.
clip is it?
It's the one titled "Fago Beats Facial Recognition."
Yikes! Hang on, bear with me. Do you know what number that is?
Way at the bottom.
Way at the bottom. Oh, Hang on a second. Hang on. I know what happened here.
Yeah, I think I labeled it as ICP.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
And I don't know which one it is.
It should say something like Insane Clown Posse.
Where is it? Which number is it? What number is it?
I don't know. I don't have this sheet in front of me.
All right. All right. So I don't see it on
Should
here.
be at the very bottom.
Yeah, 23, Blade Run 3. That was the very bottom one that I see. Oh, it's being blocked, I think, by... hang on. No, that's it. That's it. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have ICP on my end. So
let's see if I can pull it up. Hang on.
Yeah, that's fine. Give it a shot. But I tell you, what is the... what would you suggest, Gare, that people do in order... If they get a whiff of this coming to their town? First of all, show up at your city council meetings, which I will say that I've not been to one in quite a while, and shame on me. I was kind of demoralized, I guess. That's just it. You can't get demoralized and then stop. We turned out en masse for a city council meeting. We had an issue here in our town, and there was literally one person in favor of something, and the city council went ahead and approved. They were on the side of that lady. And the other, 300 or so of us that showed up, which is, we don't care. And you know what? We did take care of it at the ballot box at the next election cycle. We cleaned house, and all but one of the city council members got replaced. The mayor got replaced. So yes, do what Gare says and say, petition your government. Don't do vandalism and stuff like that. Yeah.
And yes, I would I'm trying to put this delicately that
yes.
I would always encourage people, go through the proper channels, petition your government, contact your local representatives, state, and above, because for anyone, okay, how about this? The last time that there was a mass gathering that turned violent, that has been a political tool of a certain party for the better part of 4.5 years. Going to an extreme will never win hearts and minds. And while the Blade Runners, the people are very supportive of it, the fines and penalties are also increasingly getting more and more strict. Mm-hmm. We have a system in place. We should respect that. And so petition your local leaders and move your way on up would be my best recommendation. Also, have these discussions with friends and family. You and your listeners are a very informed bunch, but I would ask anyone, talk to your friends about central bank digital currency, about 15-minute cities, see what they know.
Yeah, and let me jump in real quick. In case you missed it earlier, if you tuned in late, pinned to the top of the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the-mic. Huh? I posted the Gare Bears CBDC conversation we had in August. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, that was back when I could get a slideshow to work. It was good days.
Oh no, we're going old school here with the phone situation here from Wes.
Trying to show the juggalos.
Yeah.
Not working. Sorry.
So we'll do theater of the mind here. For anyone that might be familiar with the band Kiss and their makeup that they would do, the Insane Clown Posse is very similar. They do sharp edges on what would be considered clown makeup, and they are a punk rock rap group that's been around since mid-90s. There were multiple reports that came out that due to how facial recognition constructs and identifies you off of your cheekbones, jawline, the muscles therein, eyelids, everything, putting on that type of face paint distorts it. And inadvertently, the juggalos are subverting facial recognition technology. And it was a fun little way to cap things off.
Okay.
That,
so
of all people, the Insane Clown Posse has done what people have been trying to do for 20 years.
So if you are traveling in places with a lot of cameras, like any place in China or London or New York City, and you want to avoid facial recognition, you have to go through the trouble of wearing clown makeup everywhere? Is that the moral of the story?
I mean, it couldn't hurt. Give it a try.
Couldn't hurt. Okay, so everyone check out the Gare Bears CBDC video if you haven't seen it. And also, it's if you don't want to do the YouTube, it's also pinned to the top. I don't think a lot of people realize this, that there's a library. Since X doesn't let you organize stuff the way I want them to, I have put every show in the pinned article at the top of @KeithMalinak on X. So there's an article there, and so for as long as we've been doing this, they got the Thursday deep dives, we got that list, and then below that, it's the Friday shows, which, by the way, tomorrow, we're going to have J.P. Decker. It'll be his second visit, and then Kelly Smith, her first visit, and we'll hang out, and I've got all sorts of not-so-rapid-fire questions. I'm looking – see, what I'm doing when I'm doing this, I'm looking down. I got a pile of show prep that is not – it's not sorted. It's just a pile on the floor down here because, as you know, and I've said this and I've made it very clear, I am the most or the least organized person that I know. But boy, you were organized today, Gare. I mean, you came locked and loaded, man. I appreciate it. Good stuff.
Oh, not a problem.
Yeah.
I was looking into it just while we were talking here, and yeah, it's just couldn't get the presentation to work. My bad, guys.
No, stop it. It was great. It was good stuff, man. All right. Well, and where did you share all of those links? You said in the chat of this
in the Twitter feed for the
look in the comments there.
Yeah, I'll make sure that when we get it as a video in the description, we'll make sure we have it there too, and for the audio podcast.
Awesome. Yeah. Wes has got these things on Spotify and iTunes. I mean, we are ubiquitous.
There's like ones I've never even heard of, but they're there.
There's a dozen different players, y'all. So you'll find a podcast app.
Yeah, if you just go to @themic.transistor.fm, you can listen to it on that website. Or if you go to where it says listed anywhere, it will literally have links to every platform that it's on.
It's good stuff. Yeah, I was looking for the man. I can't find it. Yeah, there's a nice little. Hold on a second. Hold on. Here it is. Wait for it. Boom! @themic.transistor.fm. Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate you so much.
Can I just do one more plug?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Victoria, everybody that's donated so far, I cannot thank you enough.
Yes.
It's really going to help. We might be at the last round of infusion therapy, but that doesn't mean that it's not over. So it's not better. It's about medication for about 2 years, but it's better than getting the infusion. So again, thank you to everybody that's get all teary-eyed. But
did you put in the chat the link to the Give Send Go?
I didn't get a chance to in the chat to pin it, but it's Give Send Go, and then you just do /Victoria Strong.
Victoria Strong.
Yeah. So
awesome.
And then if you want, and I don't make money off of this. I have a TeePublic store, but I have a shirt for it says "Kicking Ovarian Cancer in the Dick."
Everybody at my clinic
we had people at the hospital buy it. I make about $1.50 off of it. It's not. It's just one of those just showing support. So if you want to buy one, I'll put a link in there too. So I will have Pat as a Lego as a shirt too coming out. So.
Oh, Pat Gray as a Lego?
Not Pat. No. I mean you. No, Pat's got enough.
I thought you said Pat. I don't know what you said.
Well, I'm at Pat every day. No, I got one of Keith as a Lego.
No! I can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, here on X and at youtube.com/@themic. Y'all be well.
See you tomorrow. Take it easy.
We'll see you. Boom, we're clear. Gare, thanks so much, man. I appreciate that a lot.
No, that's cool, man. Thanks for, as always, thanks for having me.
If you ever got another topic or something you want to discuss, let me know, okay?
Yeah, out of curiosity. You got that encyclopedia of conspiracy theories I sent you a while back, right?
Yeah, we got that. Yeah, it's actually at work.
Flip through that, see if there's anything.
Okay.
And then in there should have been the great